Look, we finally beat Medicare. Oh, good God. Oh, Dr. Disrespect is still behind me. That's wonderful. Oh, well, he's a piece of shit. He could stay up there, actually. Why are people saying it's choppy? I'm not seeing any buffering from here, man. And YouTube, if there is even like a slight fart of buffering, like it gets like you get like a yellow bar with a notification in it. So I'm not seeing that. How many people here are seeing issues with the stream right now? Let me know. Yeah, I'm stoned today. I was smoking that Mike Tyson bubblegum kush. Yes, I'm serious. Some people are saying it's all good. It might be a YouTube thing then. It might be a YouTube thing. So not much I could do about that, guys. If everyone was saying it was screwed up, then I would be like, all right. And if I was getting a notification from YouTube, like I said, you get the yellow notification, I would be like, okay. But I'm not getting any of that. So that may be, of course, the night I decide to come back, YouTube fucking loses its mind. It is a skill issue. I need to get good at live streaming. Actually, well, that's actually not wrong. Pulse Attack, that was actually a roast that was good on multiple levels. So a lot of people have been wondering what I've been doing, man. Let me tell you something. I've been doing, like, I have not been not doing anything. I assure you, if I was not doing anything like a giant man-child, I would have beat the Elden Ring DLC by now. But it's just been nice to, like, decompress. I've never done that since I started doing this shit. The job is super fucking easy. But what happens when you do YouTube is you're always thinking about it. Always thinking about it. 24/7. That was the period. And I'll give an update on my mom too. She's actually doing way better. Nah, I'm not. Look, I'm not watching any videos on me. I have not watched them. Phoenix, it's funny that you mentioned that. I haven't even looked at the comments on anything. I haven't watched any videos. I haven't done a goddamn thing. But funny, it brings up a story about an iPad. You may think I'm just stoned out of my mind. No, the story ties in perfectly to it. So I got an iPad Pro. I've been using Koala a lot on it, and I decided to go for an iPad Pro. So I use Koala, and I make sometimes, like, I use it kind of as like a practice thing, and I'll get to all the super chats in a second. I don't want anyone to think I'm ignoring them. So I'm just messing with Koala, practicing with stuff, and I'm like, let me try the microphone, see how the mic sounds on the iPad Pro. And there was nothing coming out of it. No sound. I'm like, mics on Apple products and Android just work unless you go out of your way to mute your mic. So I'm like, all right, I guess this is defective. And the thing that was weird about it is that what made me think it was defective is that you talked into it, you heard nothing, you tapped on the back. If you were recording a WAV file, you would see it actually go up. So I'm like, oh, obviously the mic is fucked up then. So I bring it back. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need, this is like the Rolls Royce of the iPads. For doing music production, I'm never going to even tap remotely close to what the M4 is capable of. Hell, even an M1 is a fucking monster. So I got a smaller too, and I like the fact that it's only 11 inches as opposed to 13. I got the M2 iPad Pro, and it's great. But anyway, point being to the story. So I get them really nice. They're both Best Buys. The people were very nice, very helpful, and they put the glass on for me again on the new iPad. I'm like, cool, this is great. Saved a bunch of money, unnecessary. Didn't need that much horsepower. Perfect. Come home, install the software, try Koala, and the mic is muted again. The mic is fucking muted again. And I'm like, I know what it is. It's the fucking glass. So I sit there and slowly peel off the tempered glass. And then all of a sudden, the mic sounds... It was the fucking glass. It was just the fucking glass. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, I'm sure Mr. Beast tweeted about me. Look, yes, we're making a chocolate bar together. We're calling it failure. It's going to be dark chocolate and coconut. Kidding, by the way. What are you talking about, dude? And I also have, as a person who's been using a DAW on PC for eons, Pro Tools, Acid Pro, there's no limits to it. On top of it, too, you could use full-fledged plugins. And I also have Logic Pro for the iPad that you could stem it out. You're talking to a guy... I mean, I've only been a hobbyist. I've never, minus when I first, which is funny because I was not ready yet and had no idea what the fuck I was doing. Only for a couple years when I first started making beats, I took it seriously. From like 04 to 06, I took it seriously. When I didn't know what the fuck I was doing in the beginning. But I did it as a hobby, and I remember that Flip Did Up channel I had. I used to upload beats to there, but I'm a DAW PC dude. You ain't limited. I assure you, these apps ain't toys anymore, man. And this is coming from a guy who thought like you until like 3 months ago. I thought everyone used to be like, yo, Rich, these apps now are legit. You're missing out. You're being a boomer. And I'm like, no, you're wrong. There's no way that an app on a fucking tablet or phone will give me the flexibility that a PC DAW does. I was wrong, mostly. There is some stuff that, of course, you're gonna like. You could like look if you're producing and you want to have multiple plugins with EQing and all that shit. Of course, you're gonna need a DAW and a computer for the horsepower and the multiple channels and busing. Anyway, I'm gonna shut the fuck up about that. Who cares? Fart in my mouth and stomp on my chicken. I'll get to that right now. So point being, you're coming from a PC DAW guy. You're talking to a PC DAW guy. And I'm still impressed with the app. So give it a shot if you haven't. Yeah, I was fine. Like I was saying before, I missed this part. Like as I'm exchanging the iPad, I looked at a comment and someone's like, oh, Rich has lost his mind. And I'm like, what the fuck do people think I'm doing? Like, I'm just like eating edibles and pacing back into my living room back and forth. Yes, that's it. And I'm like, I'm just fucking exchanging an iPad. I'm not doing like, I'm like, oh, my seltzer. That was a bad, it didn't spill because they're sealed, but now I can't drink from these cans. I'm gonna have the bird drink from my cans. I was laughing at that. I'm like, it's amazing how, if an image is painted, how easily people buy it. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm losing my mind right now. I'm running naked through the mall every day. That's what I'm doing. Hey, Rich, Phil is a man. He is a man with an ass. So thank you, Phoenix, for being concerned. I'm okay. It has been, I've kept myself busy and haven't been playing, but it has been liberating. This is one thing I was talking about before, and yes, the Mike Tyson bubblegum kush got me off track. Again, YouTube is an easy job. The physical aspect of it is the easiest fucking thing you can ever do if you end up doing it as a living, and if you're lucky enough to. But the problem is, and stepping away from it made me realize, and probably is part of the reason why, combined with IRL things that happen, I had a meltdown, is I had a very unhealthy, this is seltzer. I'll get to the other super chats in a second. Relationship with YouTube. I was obsessed. I'll admit it. I would say and this is probably being conservative. You know, the YouTube app. I was probably checking that at least every 5 minutes. My whole world was looking at numbers. My whole world was and that was true. That wasn't me like making an excuse for a video doing bad. Like there would be sometimes YouTube wouldn't, you had to babysit too, because there'd be times that YouTube wouldn't send out the notification because the upload was fucked up. So you'd have to re-upload. And, you know, and then you'd be like, oh, what topics are we talking about today? Everyone loves this topic. 2 days later, no one cares about it anymore. And you'd always be looking at that YouTube Studio app, man, just glancing and constant. It's just like a albatross around your fucking neck. You know? Some other things I heard. I don't care that June the King will watch the documentary. I don't care if he's making a documentary about me. I heard some murmurs about that, which is fine. I don't give a shit. If anything, it'll be free publicity. Oh, we're reacting to the debate. I'm just giving it a few more minutes. Fart in my mouth. So yes, I am fine. Rich Phil is a man. I haven't even really kept up on Phil, dude. Well, I don't even know what's going on with him. Has he had any moments? There was one video I watched today of him fucking, I think it was Mighty D that posted it, where Phil was sucking an Elden Ring, and I'm like, I can't roast Phil on that. I'm sure I'll have the same problem with the DLC. Glad to see you streaming. Thank you very much for being a member for almost a year. Hope your family is doing okay. By the way, my mom update too, which is most important, and I should have started with this. She had some bizarre infection. She's doing a hell of a lot better. It was like the lesions got infected. And more than likely when she had her gallbladder surgery, it caused those to, like, I guess, get disturbed and infected. And that's basically what's been her issue for the past, like, 2 to 3 months. She would get sick, go to the hospital. They give her a weaker, not knowing that she had some severe infection, antibiotic. It would stave it off. And it would come back because it was just kind of holding it off, and it would come back and kind of come back more fierce. But you know, she's doing okay. Some people question why I talked about it, and it's a pretty simple answer. That was the day that she went into the hospital. I appreciate it. There's a lot of people, first and foremost, who I forgot to mention this, that express concern, and thank you. Who's texting me? Just make sure it's nothing important. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy I'm here too. So, thank you, Jostler. Richard Singer, thank you. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure everything was okay with my kids. Now I lost my goddamn train of thought. Big Cheese, yeah, oh, that's another drama. The Big Cheese thing is still going strong. Richard Singer, thank you. Thank you, Jostler. I appreciate it. Hope everything is well for you, homie. Nice to see you streaming. Yeah, I'm glad to be back too. I genuinely am. So, Hacky Smack, thank you very much. To Juicy Booch's chagrin, I think it's him that doesn't want me. This is going to be the stream setup 99% of the time from here on out. It just is what it is. Not sure what I'm going to do with that other room. It's not that I'm stopping making videos on the other channel. I'm just going to go with the flow. So, but I don't need that room anymore with this setup to the way it is. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. Togue, I missed your super chat. I'm sorry. Yeah, I heard the Elden Ring, and I from the 1 hour minus that I played it, I got bodied. Let me see where you at, bro. I'm sorry. How am I missing super? Oh, hey, Rich, y'all. Listen and listen now. Have the battle of the breasts and cucumbers go at the soundboard for your disappearance. Let's go. Do I have breasts and cucumbers on? I should have breasts. Whoa! Just trying to fill in the dead air there. Sorry. Dude, I don't have... You know what? I got good news, though. Because I was cleaning yesterday. If you follow me on Instagram, for some reason I've been doing random weirdo streams there, and yeah, I found that I had a Stream Deck XL that I bought, and I didn't even know I fucking bought it. So I have another one I could put out here. So getting back to my mom, the reason why I brought it up was people paid for me to have that day, you know, and I had to like, guys, I have a valid excuse. Like, I don't want anyone to think that I was like, hey, thank you for hitting the goal. See you later. I'm out. Yeah, I do. I actually think I'm a rapper. That's exactly what I think. Guys, I'm an aspiring rapper. What should my rap name be? So Jack of Flames, the seltzer ain't going anywhere. Hey, you know what? I've been saving money on seltzer because I wasn't. Actually, I still drink a fuck ton of seltzer. What am I talking about? Shut the fuck up. But what I want to do tomorrow, because I got to be up relatively early for something, I'm actually going to shampoo the rugs, because this setup actually, man, this room goes back, dude. Where I'm sitting right now, literally where this monitor is, I don't know if you see my finger, this area right here, I look like the tremendously tremendous. Oh, we're watching them tonight. Literally was, God, I sound like Leafy. Remember for the three of you who were subscribers back then, remember the video I did? It was with Stone Age Gamer, and I had that portable NES, and intro guy actually had hair. We've watched the video a couple times. I'm not watching again. That would be like pulling a Phil. That was like right in this spot where my breasts are shaking. It's kind of weird to think that. And right back here used to be the couch. Holy shit. I'm like, you ever get like that deja vu, like you're there? I'm kind of getting that now. The coffee table was here. I used to film. I don't know what the fuck you could see. But I used to film on the coffee table here with that stupid ZI6 camera. And film like my unboxings, and remember I unboxed the PS3. We've watched that at least once, not watching that again. So it's weird. There's crazy memories down in this room. It's just strange to think, like, it's so different now, but I think of all the stuff. Anyway, Review Tech 9. I'm an aspiring rapper, guys. That's something I had no idea. That's actually, I'm not a rapper though. I just want to make music. I don't want to rap. It'd be ridiculous. I'm saying that would be ridiculous. I would laugh at myself. Welcome back, Mr. Rich. Hope Jay. No, dude, that stuff is done. We've talked. That's like, you could talk to Jay if you don't believe me this time. If you think I'm just putting on a face, we're fine. We're cool. It's done. Like, that's it. Oh man, I'm laughing because, you know, I'm thinking of like, people also think I'm Hacker Man. I should get that bullet with the mustache and make a thumbnail and make myself Hacker Man for the thumbnail. Even Jay was like, yeah, no, dude, you're too dumb to do that. And I was like, you know what, Jay, I agree. Like, we both agreed I was too dumb to do that. Both of us, like, yes, you are correct. I am too dumb. Oh, Boogie Shitcoin. You know what's funny about that thing? Is the day before that all went down, he was saying stuff about me that was factually untrue that he got from troll videos, morally grandstanding on me by flat out lies. And then the next day goes, yo, I'm going to scam my audience with the crypto rug pull. I was like, yeah, no, I'm still not coming back. I'm still not, I was like, I got a lot to say on that. I thought it was incredible. I was almost speechless. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. But here we are. Rich, how dare you do these things that literally aren't true? By the way, I'm doing a rug pull the next day. Hope you don't care. Hope you don't mind. And he proactively, this is the most amazing part. He is such a fucking idiot. He proactively went to CoffeeZilla thinking that it would be good damage control. It has to be a setup with Keemstar. I know Boogie can be an idiot, but I can't believe he's that much of an idiot. I almost feel like it's stage drama. Maybe it's not. But Boogie, I'm going to say what Mr. Medicare said. Then you go around and people like saying, look, I need it for drug medication and cancer medication. Then you're like trolling in Mr. Medicare's chat and saying, psych, I just needed it. Or maybe you were being sarcastic for weight loss medication. Dude, people have gone through, Mr. Medicare's dying. You see him promoting a fucking shitcoin. He said this with his own words, by the way. It's not me saying. You can watch his stream on Boogie. It's a banger. You see him doing that? Not to bring up myself, but here I am. Not talking about this shit. I've been through hell and back. You see me fucking doing any kind of shit? Not even doing a GoFundMe or anything like that, let alone a fucking scam rug pull shitcoin. Your situation doesn't justify a scam, sir. And even if this is a stage thing with the LolCal Live podcast, you know that podcast is always one wings troll away from being canceled. You're known as the scammer now. What are you going to do after that? Anyway, it was surreal. Like, I don't know. I was just like, you can't make this up. Hope you're doing it. Natsu is saying birds. Of course he's here saying birds. Dr. Disrespect is here. Your rapper name should be Titty as for Fitties. Listen, I didn't know. I'm excited about this rap career. I had no idea that I had no interest in pursuing. Clue. He's a DJ. Oh God. He had banging mixtapes, man, but his fucking drops, like it sucked the soul out of me. I mean, he's a talented dude, but Illuminati! Oh. It's kind of like the guy, like it was like, it's okay for a bit. Like if you play NBA Jam, like, yeah, I know you could, I think the option was there. You could turn off the voiceover or mitigate it if you want to, but after a while it's like, all right, yes, I know he's on fire. Shut the fuck up. You're on fire. Why am I talking about NBA Jam? I blame Mike Tyson. Yeah, listen, do nothing, learn a bunch of software and hardware. Don't even play Elden Ring, which is one of your favorite games of all time, which has a DLC expansion, which could be a whole game within itself. But you're doing nothing but drugs and staring at your wall. Let's go. Dude, Boogie, I need that money. I really do. I'm so angry at that. I know I just talked about it. I'm not that out of my mind, but it's just amazing. I take edibles. That's, you know. Welcome back, Father. Listen, I am. I'm doing. Did I miss any super chats? Titty yes, for fitties. Yes, I definitely missed that one because it's amazing. Mari, thank you for asking if I'm doing well. I am doing well. John Hardwick, you thought your rap name was so no. John, I'm not rapping. You know what? Let that go around though. I'm an aspiring rapper. Sure, I'm an aspiring. Look, you're right. You got me. Good. Yes. My EP comes out. Oh my god, I love it. I love the internet, man. It's amazing. I won't even. I have to ask, who said Rich is an aspiring rap? I don't know. I'd love to know where that one came from. I just think it's funny. All right, sure. I'm an aspiring rapper. Listen, quit drool. Oh yeah, I was drooling. Listen, if there was a moment that I think there was sarcasm with that. Who said that? Was that Smash JT? But if there was a time that I was going to drool and didn't, so I have not, it was when Mudahar and Boogie, the irony, were on my live stream. I was on fucking Neptune. I'll admit it. I mean, all I want to do is just play some records, man. I don't think I'm anybody special. I don't think I'm like, I don't have delusions of grandeur, as a man would say, you know? I'm just a guy and I enjoy making music. You like it? Great. You don't? Great. Will I post it on the main channel? Sure. Is that all I'm going to do? No. What am I going to do? Whatever the fuck I want. On the main channel, I mean. So, Christian Straight Man. Yeah, let's not name it Christian Straight Man since most people won't get it. Like, they're just like, wait, what? Yeah. I'm just, exactly, Juicy Boots. Just live your life and I'm enjoying that shit. And if something happens, great. Like, I'm not looking at, like, I'm never going to stream again. I'm just going to make music and pay my mortgage that. Well, no, I'm not retarded. But man, it was great. It was great to decompress from this. I know it's a brutal thing to say. I didn't realize how toxic YouTube was, what it was doing to me. Maybe I shouldn't admit that. I don't know. Diss track on 8-Bit Eric when. Here, dude, I'm taking a hiatus for indefinitely, so a very long time from any kind of direct drama. But I am not going to not watch 8-Bit Eric's wrestling. It's too entertaining. I did a diss track on who? No, all I did with that, and Jay could say this, was I put where Jay was joking about, well, he was actually pissed at me at the time. And I put that audio clip in there. That was it. No, I did not rap on anything. Ever, ever, ever. For fuck's sake. Dude, could you imagine I actually was being unironically serious about wanting to be having an aspiring rap career at 42? I almost wish that was true. I want Phil to do it. That's Phil's next trend. That's gonna save the business. Phil is gonna become a rapper. All right. Hey, we're over 500 people. We've kind of stayed over 500 people. Did I diss track? Not to start you, but did you see Muda say you're... A lot of people are talking a lot of shit with hearsay. I kind of sound like Phil right now, ironically, with what you just wrote. But I'm a little bit different. You could watch my streams and see the full context, and the full context is right there. A lot of the stuff that's being put out there is misinformation. What I find funny about that, I will have a little, and I will keep it respectful about, as my mic fucking almost breaks off, is I had when the whole thing with Muda, Carl Jobst, and the Completionist started, they made like that second video where it was kind of like they were auditing him. And then the Completionist responded back with, he's going to take legal action. And I'm like, shit, maybe, you know, there's some people that are probably shitting themselves. And I was referring, I didn't say the name, but I was referring to Muda because maybe they went in too deep, you know? And I remember, I didn't say his name in the tweet. His wife got pissed off at me. We had a back and forth, and then we smoothed it out, and it was cool. But I look back at that now, and I'm like, man, they went after me for a tweet where I didn't even mention a name. His wife got pissed at me for a tweet. Are you going to get pissed for Muda by going about stuff that's just videos with misinformation? Think what you want about what happened between I and Jay, even though we're perfectly fine. It's all bullshit what's going on. All the other shit, the back and forth with Jay is a different thing. Beyond that, it's all bullshit. Every single fucking thing. So you want that? Oh God, Pulse Attack's gonna say send up a Zoom link. I'd have him on it, Muda, if you want to come on and talk about my gaffes, and we could say what's true and what could be debunked. By all means. I'll even go on yours if anyone thinks I'm looking for traffic and revenue here, because know it would be more of a civil discussion than it would be with other people. That I would make an exception for. I'm not looking for money. So oh, you beat. What's your favorite FromSoft game, DBZ? You don't have to super chat again. Ivion's tits are extra perky today. So that wasn't, I responded to that because the super chat wasn't a troll. Sure as fuck Muda's not a troll. So that's why I gave a response to that. Anyway, let's watch old men stare at each other and say nonsense. 8-bit Eric is staying there. Mundane Matt why is he defending Joe? Why? Here's the thing. With this stupid bar, move out of here. You guys can see okay? Yes. Wow, it actually stayed on the right monitor too.
We're live from Georgia, a key battleground state.
I mean, even if by some chance Joe Biden won the election, look at God, if you watch him even back in like 2016, he was a completely different human being. But even 2020, and people were questioning his cognitive abilities back then, he was night and day compared to him now. It's kind of sad. And shame on his wife and shame on his son for propping him up for their own personal political gain, man. That's exactly what they're doing. And it's gross. Rich's shoulders. listen, my shoulders are go into office. Being a public figure, I needed a break from it.
In the race for the White House, in just moments, the current U.S. president will debate the former U.S. president as their party's presumptive nominees, a first in American history. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world to our studios in Atlanta. This is the CNN presidential debate.
This is going to be a fucking nightmare. I don't know why. Like, I haven't watched this yet on purpose. I was dying to watch it too, even like if I fell asleep to it, but
this debate is being produced by CNN and is coming to you live on CNN, CNN International, CNN.com, CNN Max, and CNN Espanol. This is a pivotal moment between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump in their rematch.
Fucking two ancient old men that are out of their minds. One is a demented king and one is an evil king.
Match for the nation's highest office. Each will make his case to the American people with just over 4 months until Election Day. Good evening, I'm Dana Bash, anchor of CNN's Inside.
Yeah, like what the fuck are the Democrats gonna do? Like, you get a new candidate with like a few months left? And they knew he was like this. They knew I'm going to get pissed off during this, but what else is new? Imagine, if you will, a Harris Sanders ticket. Never would happen. It is scary. Like I said, you have the demented king and the mad king. It's like, and it's like, even if he's not, he wouldn't win. Donald Trump would win. Period. Even if even if Joe Biden somehow miraculously won, where the fuck is he going to be mentally, even 6 months from now? Let alone 4 years. He's going to be a fucking plant in 4 years if he's still alive. I feel bad talking about the man this way, but I kind of don't. Because he's fucking with his whole family's fucking with democracy because their pride's getting in the way. Yeah. And then there's, I don't know anything about Project 2025. They sound like great people, though. And even if he doesn't know anything about it, he'll still point all those fucking weirdos and they'll still do all the shit they want to do. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, Rome was eventually going to fall again anyway, right? Biden doesn't have dementias. He's had a stutter since he was a kid. Dude, let me show you something. Him losing his train of thought is just his age. You need to keep your train of thought when you're the president of the United... Dude, and it's not. I've seen people in their 80s that are all have their mental faculties about them, and they don't sound like him. Go watch, dude, like I'm telling you, go watch Joe Biden even from 2020, dude. You know what I mean? Lily Pan, thank you for becoming a member. I do appreciate that. For people who have stuck around with members, with me being all over the place, I thank you very much. Review my areolas, as you have a picture of Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. Would you fuck me? Yeah, dude, it was just, it's been a bizarre few months. We had no idea what the fuck was wrong with her. She got checked for everything. Full body CAT scans, blood work, multiple times, full panels. And she was like bedridden. She's in the hospital now, but this is the best she's felt because they finally figured out what the fuck was going on. It's been a roller coaster, man. It's been a roller coaster a year and a half for me. Dude, 36 months. Thank you. Holy shit. I just saw that number now. God damn. Missed my member chat worst debate in history. Pakistani American single 35. That sounds like a name that you would hear. Don't take this personally. Unlike To Catch a Predator back in the day. So what was your name? Pakistani. His name was Pakistani 35. I really want to see your boobs. Oh, cool. I don't see it, dude. Oh, there it is. Hey, Rich. Long time, man. How's life? It's good. It's weird. Glad Mother is doing better. We are heading to apocalyptic Trump and all his cult-ass followers. And, dude, there's a cult on the left, too. It's more cult-like. I knew the cult was there. But it's stronger on the left than I thought. Yeah, they're labeling this election as the most important election of their lifetimes, but they're putting up the weakest candidate. A guy who obviously is in not just cognitive decline. He's like, his voice is weak and he's not well. But yeah, he's the man who's going to beat the Mad King. Give me a fucking break. What a joke.
Politics and co-anchor of State of the Union.
I'm Jake Tapper, anchor of CNN's The Lead and co-anchor of State of
Pakistani American single was asking about her boobs.
the Union. Dana and I will co-moderate this evening. Our job is to facilitate a debate between the two candidates tonight. Before we introduce them, we want to share.
Yeah, and you were fucking softballing everything too, because the old men can barely understand what we're saying.
The rules of the debate with the audience at home. Former President Trump will be on the left side of the screen. President Biden will be appearing on the right. A coin toss determined their positions. Each candidate will have.
I guess there's a reason. But why the fuck does that matter? Would you be open to watching the Kennedy versus this? It just includes him. Sucks media keeps excluding him. Sure. Not tonight, but sure. Erections. I say fuck your super chat balls attack.
2 minutes to answer.
Juicy Booch is here. We got Izzy Bell here. We got Mari here. We got Sean. We got the usual suspects. I'm happy. Now we just need to get Google Fish back.
Question and 1 minute each for responses and rebuttals. An additional minute for follow-up, clarification, or response is at the moderator's discretion.
When it's time for a candidate to speak, his microphone.
Dude, I don't know, man. Like, we might be headed towards a fucking civil war, dude. I hate saying that. I don't want it. And I'm not one of those that are dog whistling and just saying I don't want it to cover my ass. I really don't. But, like, you can't talk to anybody anymore. There's no room for debate. It's everyone is just entrenched and just doesn't want to be civil. No, I have not seen the latest video by Vic Berger, but Lord knows I want to. I hope not, Sean. I genuinely wholeheartedly hope not. I mean, times have changed. It wouldn't be like it was in the late 1800s. You know what I mean? We wouldn't be sitting there and, but whatever. If the best case scenario happened and both of them croak before election day, I feel like the Democrats would have an easier time replacing Biden. No, I think imagine they had like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and you know what? Motherfuckers who would vote for Trump would definitely vote for her. So she would, frighteningly, Marjorie Taylor Greene, if she was on the ticket, would have a chance. Look at that acting governor that was saying, like, it's time to fucking kill people. What do they say? I forgot the actual name when you're not the governor yet, but whatever. So, like, that's the thing. They would replace her with, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And you know what? She would have a chance in hell. Frighteningly enough. Imagine her running the country. It's like having a choice between shit and diarrhea. I kind of almost think I would want Trump over her. I hate Trump. I do think that he tried to overthrow democracy. I still think that she would be worse. Maybe I'm wrong. I do think so, though. I don't think I am. Yeah, like I do. It's scary. I do think she'd have a chance. And I think there would be a chance they would, like, say Trump, you know, tremendously fell off a cliff. I think that she would have a chance of winning. Like, let that sink in. That should fuck you in the head. Marjorie Taylor Greene is president. And if he wins again and the right wing gets more extreme, in 4 years, that may be a thing if he doesn't decide to make himself fucking king. Either way, him becoming king or Marjorie Taylor Greene possibly being president, both of them would suck a giant, erect, throbbing horse dick with veins pulsating on it. Holy shit, what the fuck did I just say? Like, no, what's Michelle's policies? Like, okay, she's married to Barack Obama, who was not fucking great. What are her policies besides she's well-spoken? Everyone wanted, like, Oprah Winfrey to run. Yeah, she has large breasts, but, like, what are her political takes? Like, why? Because she's Oprah? Yes, that's exactly why. Oprah would make a great president. Why? I have no idea. Okay. Neil, I missed your super chat. I'm sorry. Thank you, sir. I do apologize by that. I won this debate in a landslide. Yeah, you did. All jokes aside. Why? Because you could finish a sentence. Anyway, we're 1 minute and 30. How long have I been streaming? For an hour, and we're only 1 minute and 38. Granted, I talked for a while, but...
will be turned on, and his opponent's microphone will be turned off. Should a candidate interrupt when his microphone is muted, he will be difficult to understand for viewers at home. At the end of the debate, each candidate will get 2 minutes for closing statements. There is no studio audience tonight. Pre-written notes.
Yeah, I'm thinking of that. But the problem is nature-based, is that that's what people like, is they say something and I interact with it, what we're talking about in real time. Like, if you notice, and look, I still love Spawn Wave, think he's great. So this isn't, like, even though they may have a couple thousand people watching, he doesn't get as many super chats because people want to talk about something and super chat to you in real time to talk about it. Or they want to troll you and call you a piece of shit. Either or. But I did do one thing. And you noticed, unless I'm just not signed into StreamLabs. Why is it? Let me just make sure. That has happened before. Yeah, I am not signed in. I was right. Good thing I checked. Why do I have to, like, restart this every time? On my other computer, and it just logs me in, so I don't know. Debates are now dumb. Rich, look here, listen. We have women wrestle in ice cream on November 5th to get more people to vote. Let's go.
Props or contact with
They would go. There would be more people voting.
campaign staff are not permitted during the debate. by accepting our invitation to debate both candidates and their campaigns, agreed
I
to
want to check
accept
something.
these rules.
Now, please welcome the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Folks, how are you? Great to be here. Thank you.
Listen to his voice already.
And please welcome the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
But wasn't inflation going up when Trump was still in office? I'm pretty sure that's accurate. Thank you, Sean McNally. I appreciate that.
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president, what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right. The economy collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do was try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out a position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. But there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of a household where the kitchen table, if the things weren't able to be met during the month, it was a problem. The price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination.
I mean, so far, he's not stammered that much, but dude, this country and its fucking game of healthcare. And then I hear they're trying to privatize healthcare up in Canada too. It never ends.
What I was left with in corporate greed is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos, literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a situation where we brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people, to $15 for an insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to pay more than $200.
Hacky Smack, thank you very much for... Holy shit. That was a sneeze. For becoming a member, thank you. It's still Solid Crusader. Your name reminds me of there was some dude on To Catch a Predator. You don't have to change your name. I hope you don't think I'm trying to embarrass you. Just reminded me of what are the usernames on there.
$100 for any drug, all the drugs they can include beginning next year. And the situation is and we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you. President Trump?
We have the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID, and when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars, and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID.
Bro, you bodied one of the top lieutenants of Iran. Wasn't that towards the end of his presidency? All right, fine. I don't think Trump got us into any major conflicts as far as I know, unless I'm missing something. But
mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country. But other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce-back jobs, a bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Thank you. President Biden?
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world, he's the only one who thinks that, I think. I don't know anybody else who thinks he had the greatest economy in the world. And, you know, the fact of the matter is that we found ourselves in a situation where his economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised...
that is true. And he tried to make it like it was a middle-class tax cut. That is accurate.
The deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began, since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was significant. And the military, you know, when he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that. When he was president, we were still finding ourselves in a position where you had a notion that we were...
Well, neither did your term to presidency as when you were vice president, President Biden. What were you and Barack doing? Drone strikes? Eric, thank you for becoming a member. You do look tremendous. Did you forget about that, Joe?
This safe country. The truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can.
Am I allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff.
It looks like someone puts just like... Trump's hair is amazing. I love it. It looks like someone just puts like a wig on top, like tapes the center, and it's like up in the air. And then he just has like some large man just fart on the wig and it just goes out, and that's it. I love it. It's fantastic.
On all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
It's not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cost countries that have been ripping us off for...
Yeah, there's like no fact checking on either of them, I noticed. At least I could say with Biden right now, even though you could hear he's starting to become slowly incoherent, he's already like wavering. At least he's like citing things as he's saying them, whether they're true or not. I don't fucking know. I'm watching this for the comedic value and the tragic comedic value. But Trump is just like, yes, I defeated all of the aliens single-handedly with my own laser. You saw me. I was shirtless, and I looked tremendous. And yes, I'm only 235 pounds. That's who's here saying birds. And they're just like, oh, thank you for saving us from the aliens, Mr. President. Fact check the motherfucker. Did he shoot the aliens or not? Jake Tapper, tap my ass. Oh, God.
For years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China, it's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And
yeah, a small loan of $1 million. I have a small loan of $1 million. I could do a lot with it.
The jobs went down and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. Now, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what they were doing.
That's not how it works, Don. I would even say that with you if you just got into office. There is a cause and effect trail that has to happen before you feel the effect. Like if the shoe was on the other foot and they were blaming you for inflation, like, you can't really blame the orange man for that. He just got into office.
probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump.
Oh, come on, dude. How are you getting out of a war that we were in for basically 2 decades almost smoothly? A war we shouldn't have been in.
Over the last...
How would you get out smooth, Don? I don't like fucking Biden, so this isn't me defending. He even said, this is you can look this up. It's a real thing. With, I believe, what was the shooting that was Nicholas Cruz? That shooting, it doesn't matter. He said, I would have went into the building myself and saved the children. Yeah, oh, sure. Donald Trump, Arnold Schwarzenegger would have went in there himself and saved the kids. Okay, let me see that, Don. Which is worse, to elect someone who will create civil war and Middle East war, or someone who will trigger another Middle East war and spend trillions? Dude, I don't know. This is the worst. Look at her fucking choices. Look at her fucking choices. You can't tell me this isn't by design. You can't. I'm not that guy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but what the fuck? All I know is a McDouble is now 4 times as much as it was in 2020. That's a goddamn problem. Oh, man. I got a neck beard. I didn't realize that. Anyway, why am I talking about my neck beard?
8 years under both of your administrations, the national debt soared to record highs. And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So, former President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen.
Oh, you're talking about Reaganomics, the trickle down. It doesn't work. No fucking wealthy person is just going to go, oh, out of the kindness of my heart, because I'm paying less in taxes. This is one that I do know. It's been proven to be bullshit. Reagan tried to pull that stunt too. It didn't work. Just because you give him tax cuts, it's not like Jeff Bezos is going to go, you know what, here's more money. No. Trickle-down economics has been proven time and fucking time again to not work. It's just an excuse to make sure the rich have to pay a lower percentage in taxes. Doesn't create new jobs. No one's just got the kindness of their heart going to create new jobs because they're spending less on taxes. They're going to pocket the money and tell you to fuck off. And you know that.
Just prior to COVID and even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back trillions of dollars.
Is Joe playing a Yakuza game?
Back into our country. The country was going like never before.
All right, here we go. He looks gone. He looks absolutely gone.
And we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people...
No. COVID came around 2019 to 2020. Joe Biden was in the thick of it. You were towards the tail end of the thick of it. I will say Operation Warp Speed did help get a vaccine out, which they had a lot of the tech for that vaccine from what I heard. I could be wrong about this, but from what I heard, a lot of the tech for that vaccine was from the original SARS virus, which they could have actually finished that vaccine and maybe stopped the global pandemic, fun fact, but they didn't because not enough people got sick and it wasn't profitable enough to make the vaccine. Capitalism is wonderful. Look, I like making money, but it's a pretty shitty fucking reason. Not enough people will die, so let's not finish working on the vaccine. It's not profitable enough.
People don't like to talk about, but he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between.
Dude, the United States, like foreign leaders literally laughed at you, dude. Not that they're not laughing at Joe. They're laughing for a different reason, though. They were just laughing at you because you're a fucking idiot.
Weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political.
Yes, I got a cheaper M2 iPad Pro, and it works wonderfully with Koala. And I have an Akai, I think it's an LPD8, has 8 of the MPC-esque pads. Some people complain about how the pads feel in the LPD, and they open it up and they put pieces of paper and shit in it. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, fucking pads feel fine. I actually like the pads better than I like them on my MPC-1. But yeah, that works great with it, man. And using the iPad with that is just a fucking dream. And then if you want to use a full-fledged DAW, they now have the full-fledged version of Logic on the iPad. So it's just the technology's fucking insane, dude. I'm insane. Everyone's thinking right now, no shit. I am tremendously erect. Erection will be longer and taller than the Great Wall of China. Erection, listen, an erection probably would be better than voting for either of them. And bird breasts on my hairy chest. And thank you for being a member for over a year. And actually, thank you as well for showing me that 8-Bit Eric wrestling videos. That will be on and off entertainment for probably years to come, or at least a year. All right, yes, that was just a fart.
Political opponent, all of the things.
Oh, wait a second. This is very important. I made a song for Intro Guy and it involves my ass. I sent it through his DM, so I'm going to play it through here. Why did Justin Silverman poke me? Why are you poking me? Where is it? Come on, man. There we go. Listen to this banger. I used my farts as hi-hats. Yes, I'm serious. This is going to save the business, by the way. What else do I have? Put it in my ass, man. Put it in my ass, man. Yeah! Oh my God. Listen, man, it's amazing the technology that you could just fart into your phone and make music with it. What a time to be alive. No, I farted into my phone. I wasn't going to fart into the new iPad. Review. I'm going to come. I think I have that on the soundboard. Did I dare get rid of Trump?
Congratulations.
Oh, wow. I have this.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Do not come. Do not come. I'm going to come. Oh.
He's done. We've become like a third world nation, and it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country, and I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
From mental institutions. Wait. So if they're in the mental institution here, they're already here. Close down all mental institutions. Let all the fucking crazy. That's actually a problem now, Donald. Because human beings are stupid. We always have the pendulum swing. Everything's an extreme. We had too many mental health facilities. They were like fucking torture chambers. Now we don't have enough. So go watch police activity. It's law enforcement that's dealing with that now. I was about to hit the fucking...
President Trump, we will get to immigration later in this block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question.
And hasn't, from what I've read, Biden kept a lot of his immigration policies anyway? He hasn't really done anything.
About the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America.
I'm doing okay, man. Life is pretty good. I can't complain. My mom's getting better.
And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 million, billion dollars, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to support.
And the thing is, the red flag, even if you, which I hear it gets worse, even if you watch this and say he's fine, why won't you take the cognitive test? Take it. Because then if you pass it, which you won't, but if you pass it, everyone would shut up. Is it going to say it, or is it just StreamLabs? Yeah, who is integral to Project 2025. Google it if you need. It's absolutely heinous shit. I know. I've looked into Project 2025. But it shouldn't be that we just have to vote for the guy who's a fucking borderline corpse. Look at the options there. What is going on, dude? We are on the brink of collapse. I don't know what else to say. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish I didn't feel that way. But come on.
Strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if
here we go,
we finally beat Medicare.
What does that mean? Dude, there should be, I think, like 70 because I know plenty of people who have their wits about them and could handle this role. I think 70 should be the cutoff. If you want to argue 65, fine. I wouldn't give up that. I wouldn't put up that much of a fight for it, but I think 70 is fine. I'll be naked until I see the 200 back. So wait, you're going to be naked for Big Cheese? He beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going.
Yeah, and I think both fucking sides of the aisle want to cut. I can't even think of it right now. Medicare, even more, and Social Security. It's absolutely amazing that your Social Security gets taxed, by the way. Didn't you pay into Social Security? With your taxes? Okay. Right? Cool.
Going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming.
I mean, it's a hell of a job to have at any age, Fentizen. What a job to have, you know?
They're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence.
Phil beat Medicare on May 1st. Not sure what that means, but it's still talking about May 1st, so it's fine.
And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people, they cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We're no longer respected. They don't like us. We give them every.
Say a name. He doesn't say anything that backs up anything that he says. He just shoots off the hip. You're going to say it? Back it up with evidence. Why are they, for either of them, why is CNN not fact-checking anything? They're just cucking for the two old men.
Everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President.
Bro, you just got convicted and have felonies now. They say empires only last 250. Guess how old America is? Also, thoughts on independent Canada. Yeah, because that's how long it takes for Robert F. Kennedy. Dude, we'll see what happens. I mean, it looks like right now he's staying in the race. I know a lot of powerful Democrats want him to step down. Donors want him to step down. But if you don't want to step down, what are you going to do? Yeah. Rome is falling. Again. And because this is what happens. Everyone forgets history. Everyone repeats it. The people who were alive to see the terrible things die off. The other generations don't remember it. Human beings are always terrible. We all have the same instincts and we all want to achieve wealth and power. So the cycle continues and the corruption builds until everything implodes because it all falls, the democracy falls apart or the empire falls apart because of greed and power over and over and over again. Because it's in our DNA to run things that way. Think about it. We elect other humans to govern other humans. You don't think there's going to be corruption there? Oh, they can have third parties have oversight. They're going to have connections to the third parties. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're having corrupt humans govern other corrupt humans. It's like, geez, like, it's going to fail. What are you going to do? Deploy emergency nipples. Deploy emergency nipples. We request the playing of Rich's new fart song while deploying. I got to go to intro, guys. Yes. Breasts. Why is it not restarting? Oh, God. This is turning into softcore porn. Let's just keep it real. That's my mic is in the way. God, that's a really bad song. That is one of the worst things I've ever made.
President Trump, Tana?
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This morning, the court ruled on yet another abortion case, temporarily allowing emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However,
Oh, God, you're going way back, Fairway University. That's crazy. Thank you, Jack of Flames, by the way. Karasu, glad you came through. Yeah, I'm glad things are getting better. Me too. It's about fucking time.
the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills.
Did I miss a...
They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion pill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception.
I'm watching a presidential debate shirtless. And thank you, Karasu. Thank you, Fairway.
Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did...
Well, thank you, Fairway. That's kind of the fun thing about Koala, too, is that, like, because you could do everything on your phone, it's a full-fledged, I don't know if you would call it a DAW, because DAWs have more flexibility and more features. It's a sampler. Your stream of, like, if you just think of something stupid like that, you could just make it. Just for the hell of it. And doing that kind of dumb stuff made me learn about the app more and made me learn different features. And I'm in a group on Facebook that if I have a question, it's great. People answer it. So I learned something huge today about the app, how you can move the playhead in the sequencer. So if you want to add a drop or fix something, it's a big deal to learn that.
I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking.
No, they didn't. It's very unpopular that Roe v. Wade was overturned. Very unpopular.
About how many weeks and how many this, getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was an end result that was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida is different. But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe.
Yeah, and it's bullshit. The women who are in the red states have to fucking, at best, jump through hoops. Give it up, Don, with this one.
Believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also, and because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look
How do you abort a child after birth? It's not an abortion. That would be murder, Don. Oh God. This is fucking pathetic, dude, all around. This is pathetic all fucking around. Abortion after birth. That's not a fucking thing. It is. It's like watching Phil. I'm in Texas. A legislature refuses to put abortion on the ballot, and every Republican our state elects opposes abortion. We have no choice, Don. Yeah. It's choice. The people have a choice, right? The states have a choice. The fuck out of here. The fuck. I did. We watched that, Mr. Face. Let's try to get through more than like 20 minutes of this tonight.
at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby. What happened is we brought it back to the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that they were all against it is just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor, and have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help.
Bruce,
The
thank
idea
you.
that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states. Let each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been.
Why can I picture something like that happening?
Including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in, they talk about that. But here's the deal: there's a lot of young women who are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters, it's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state lines.
Thank you.
There have been many young women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's
Yeah, but the states, it's a partisan bullshit thing. It's not. So every woman in a red state should just have no rights. Come on, dude.
frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which, frankly, they didn't. But they would have. Everybody wanted brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back.
Did Ronald Reagan?
I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states.
I'm looking something
I'll let
up.
you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion. Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I supported Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. The first time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between
Yeah, he did want to overturn it. Ronald Reagan did want to overturn Roe versus
the
Wade.
doctor and an
Wow, Donald Trump didn't lie about
extreme
something.
situation. The third time is between the doctor I mean, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions.
He's right about I mean, so far he doesn't. He doesn't seem as there's a ways to go, but right now it doesn't seem as disastrous as I thought it would be. Now, that could change though. What's up, Sully? How are you?
That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again.
No, that is a fucking lie. That is a fucking lie. That's not a thing. That would be called murder, Donald. The pug is barking upstairs because I yelled. I'm not kidding.
And the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it.
CNN, where are you? Hello? Hello?
To happen.
That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Period, period.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever.
No, you can't.
Whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court. He takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do?
Yeah, he basically packed the court. He packed the fucking court. Someone, I say CNN wants Trump to win because he brings ratings. Might be. And when you're a corporate-backed news, people would be watching them again. And, oh, my God, let's fly outrage at what Trump said, and we'll get more viewership, and people will watch the ads more because that's more important than democracy. Here's a point. If Biden really wants to restore, why hasn't he done it yet? It's a totally empty promise he gave. Dude, the Republicans run on, the only thing they fucking run on is we're not as bad. And we'll fix the things that we could have fixed when we had power. But we pinky swear we'll fix them now, so they can go fuck themselves too.
What's he going to do? In fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. Significantly. By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. It's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative.
Only 3 in 10 Americans agree with how Biden is handling immigration.
To what we can do with more border patrol and more.
Yeah, he's not as incoherent yet as I thought he would be, but he just sounds weak. He sounds like which is what he is. He sounds like a tired old man.
Asylum officers.
President Trump?
He should be fucking home watching reruns and going golfing if he can. Not being the most powerful person in the world, which is a 24/7 job.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we have the safest border in the history of our...
By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated. That's not the right way to go.
I think that was happening under your administration too there, Joe. That is true. I've seen the pictures, but I'm pretty sure it was happening under your administration as well. Hate to break it to you.
What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. It's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safe...
Oh God, he's such a fucking savage, though. That is entertaining. He's such a I don't know that he's a fucking demented idiot. I don't think he knows what he said. And listen, that side, he looks like he's in La La Land. I know he's pissed looking at fucking Donald. But is my wife my sister? Core Pop was a bad dude. Donald Care. He called Barack America. This is back before he had any cognitive issues. Barack America. I just picture like Barack Obama in like a cape, dressed up like Barack America.
Safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prison.
His legs turned blonde in the sun. Oh, yeah.
People that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now. All terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere. All over the world, they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president.
But you just said it. On this episode of Old Men Arguing.
Brandon, just speak to him.
What's up, Dark Bear?
Look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in caravans.
President Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed three, under his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person come in his administration, killed three American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorist ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people, that's simply not true. There is no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating, he's lying.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs?
Well, that's physically impossible.
Including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed three people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the two greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world. And it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with a bad border, including hundreds of thousands of people dying and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these.
Since 2022, New York City has absorbed more than 170. Where is this sourced from? What is causing the New York City migrant crisis? Well, that comes from Wikipedia. It has been driven by the Venezuelan refugee crisis and to a lesser extent that from Haiti and other countries. Texas Governor Abbott's Operation Lone Star has seen the busing of immigrants from the Mexican border initiated after the CDC announced rescinding of Title 42 expulsions on April 1st, 2022. Why are so many migrants in New York? New York's migrant crisis is actually several crises in one. A humanitarian crisis as people from around the world flee instability and poverty and make their way into New York. A housing crisis is a city that is required to find shelter for migrants struggling to do so, and a political crisis. Thank you, Ugly Nacho. Glad to see you here, and I'm glad to be back, too. Yeah, what the hell did he say there, too, by the way? Donald Trump, Alpha Daddy.
3 incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them I just spoke to.
Yeah, I just sent you a banger DM of Biden. Where did you send it on? On X? I haven't been on there in case anyone hasn't noticed. I've stayed off of that shit show.
The mother. And they just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's taken place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, or we have to get them out fast because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military.
Bro, you literally mocked what's his name? He ran for president, John McCain. And there was something else he said too. I don't remember precisely what it was. What did he say about him being a POW? Yeah, I don't get caught. Yeah, because you evaded the draft because you had a bone spur in your foot or something like that.
At all.
You don't give a fuck about our veterans either. Literally. Josie Booch dropping the stealth. Sorry, man. I had to. Yeah, John. True.
And he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rate.
Thank you for enjoying my tits.
For veterans, taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved. Choice that I got through Congress, all of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by allowing all of these people to come in.
Hellcat, well, I'm back.
It's a very sad day in America.
And Juicy Booch is enjoying my tits.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And
Sally, you said burnt piss.
his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living right next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, And he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
First of all, that was
He did say that. Yeah. I actually remember seeing the clip of him saying that.
a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines.
No, there's video clip of him. Let me find it. Trump calling veterans suckers. Pretty sure there's a clip.
For somebody to say the things that they say I said is a total lie.
I have multiple sources telling me this is what happened.
I thought there is no clip of him. All right, I was misinformed on that. Breast, yes, breasts are back. Thank you, Mike. Donald Trump is 80 orange. That's good.
He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19.
We will have to go with allegedly. I mean, he said other dumb shit like he said about John McCain. So could I believe it? Sure. But we do not have video footage of him saying it. Donald Trump, that is. So I'm doing what CNN didn't do. It's called you fact check things.
I'm a size queen. I like big dicks. I like big dicks.
I should make a techno beat with that.
I like big dicks.
That would be a banger. Why am I shaking my head to a non-existent beat?
18 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers.
What did the Hunter... Dude, this is long ass... Wasn't that a long time ago? Wasn't that before even Biden was in office, the suckers and losers thing?
So he should apologize to me right now.
Four-star general standing to your side who was on your staff who said you said it, period. That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in American history. And they now are in their family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families and equip them when they go to war. That's what we're doing. That's what the VA is doing now. They're doing more for veterans than ever before in our history.
All right. Thank you so much.
Let's move to the topic of foreign policy. I want to begin with Russia's war against Ukraine, which is now in its third year. Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't.
This still sums up this fucking debate. What does that have to do with anything, dude?
Stand him. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight. And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, the president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe.
Yeah, he's deflecting. You wouldn't have stopped the war in Ukraine. How would you have stopped? Say how you would have stopped it. Don't just say you would have done it. Just like you said you would have went in that school where there was a mass shooting in Florida. How? What are these steps you would implement?
Triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a
just says shit.
Horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned, and so he's got no love lost, but he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind, too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine, never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything, no money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
Yeah, there were no terrorism acts under your administration.
President Biden?
I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it. Recently, not when he was president. They attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place, number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where, if you take a look at what...
Yeah, you've been cucking to Israel, though. That's undeniable.
Trump did in Ukraine. This guy told Trump, do whatever you want, and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did to Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in. And listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish.
Didn't Putin fuck with a nuclear power plant a couple times, too? Couple times, I think, too. I can figure out how to put a shirt on. Review. I don't remember how to put a shirt on USA. Meh. Who gives a shit about bots? Just block them and then go away.
Kyiv, and he in fact
Mr.
didn't do it at
thank
all.
you
He
for
didn't
the
even able to get it done.
wiener.
And they've lost
Trump, I'm sorry.
They've lost thousands and thousands of troops.
Yes, Donald Trump's neck does look like a vagina. I love when Trump says anything with like two L's, though. Millions and billions.
500,000 troops.
President Trump,
I
as
never
come back
said
to you
that.
for 1 minute, I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the territory in Ukraine?
Acceptable. No, they're not acceptable. But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more.
He did it. See? Billion. 200 billion.
To Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't
You did it
think
again.
there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war, and we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled. People being killed so needlessly, so stupidly.
Dude, he looks lost.
And I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
President Biden, you have a minute.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there? Do you think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says and walks away, and by the way, all that money we give Ukraine are from weapons we make here in the United States. We give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies have produced as much funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages. Among those held and thought to still be alive are 5 Americans. Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put forward...
God, this topic, I've avoided it fairly well, but here we are.
A proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza.
Yeah, and we are still funding Israel.
So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one, everyone from the United Nations Security Council.
Oh, fuck. Oh, God, here we go. I'm seeing it now. He's losing steam.
To the G7, to the Israelis, and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward. Which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is trade.
Yeah, the war in Israel and with the war with Israel and Hamas is wildly unpopular, yet we're still funding Israel. And that's part of the reason why your numbers are tanking, Grandpa.
The hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is...
What's up, Johnny? How are you?
War. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas. Number one. They're the only ones standing out. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the meantime, what's happened? In Israel, we're finding...
Israel seems to be enjoying that war just plenty fine, especially because we're funding it. We're helping to, at least.
So the only thing I've denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing
What's
Israel
up,
all the
Machito?
weapons
How are
they
you?
need and when they need them. And by the way...
Evian, if you think it's easy to be a political streamer, you think internet blood sports are crazy? That'll be a walk in the park.
I'm the guy that organized the world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it just stopped.
I know Phil said he wants to be a political streamer. Yeah. Oh, Christ. Phil.
We saved Israel. We are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world. And so there are 2 different things. Hamas cannot be allowed to be continued. We continue to send our experts and our intelligence people as to how they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden. You don't have to do it. And by the way, they've been greatly weakened, Hamas, greatly weakened, and they should be. They should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for using certain weapons among population centers.
Just going back to Ukraine for 1 second.
He does have small hands. Trump does really have small. His hands are small.
We have an ocean separated.
I can't believe he had a dick measuring contest during the 2016 primaries with Marco Rubio. I have a huge penis, believe me.
Us. The European nations together have spent 100 billion or maybe more than that, less than us.
Billions and
Why doesn't he
billions
call
and
them and say you got to
billions?
put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any. They were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that. He's getting all. You got to ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location. Because we have an ocean in between.
I have played a modicum of it. I've only played about an hour. Haven't had time. I want to, though. I assure you I will get through that.
You got to ask them as far as Israel and
Big water,
Hamas.
ocean water.
Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one that wants to keep going is Hamas.
Thank you for being a member for a year and a half, or close to a year and a half. Thank you.
He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President Biden, you have a minute.
I've never heard so much foolishness. This is a guy who wants to get out of NATO. Are you going to stay in NATO? He's going to pull out of NATO. The idea that we have, our strength lies in our alliances as well. It may be a big ocean, but we're ever able to avoid a war in Europe, a major war in Europe? What happens if, in fact, you have Putin continue to go into NATO? We have an Article 5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on all. You want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about, go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine and then move on to Poland and other places. See what happens then. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea.
Yeah, he wanted to pull out of NATO in his first term, if I remember correctly.
Because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
President Trump, just to follow up, would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations because
yeah, he just glazed right through the fact that he wanted to rescind the United States from NATO. Yeah, just don't forget he said that. That is true.
If you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States.
You have rooster-shaped nipple clamps. That is wonderful, Emma. Yeah, he has. That's a dude. Yeah, they said you wanted to be billions. Yeah, okay, billions and millions and zillions.
And they were no cars, they don't want anything that we have, but we're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question, would you guard us against Russia? At a very secret meeting of the 28 states at that time, nations at that time. And they said, no, if you don't pay, I won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next months. But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's bills.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. Former President Trump, I want to ask you about January 6, 2021. After
how much more votes they can get by banning. I'm not sure what you mean back and forth. Maybe I'm missing.
You rallied your supporters that day. Some of them stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated counting of electoral votes. As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership?
Dude, that's... I don't want Biden to be the nominee, but are you kidding me? When your administration was in office, it was like you woke up to a bad fucking soap opera every day, literally. So I think it's why CNN wants you back in office. Someone here said it before.
Is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say, but she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard, and she turned them down. And the mayor of, in writing, by the way, the mayor, in writing, turned it down. The mayor of D.C.
No, he is lying. Pelosi did not block the National Guard from Capitol on January 6th. AP's assessment, Associated Press, false. The Speaker of the House, Pelosi, does not direct the National Guard. Further, as the Capitol came under attack, she and the Senate Majority Leader called for the military assistance, including the National Guard. Oh, Christ.
They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see. I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her. And she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day she was, I don't know, she can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said, I take full responsibility for January 6th.
President Biden?
Look, he encouraged those folks to go up in the Capitol.
I'll look at it.
Number one. I sat in the dining room off the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours. 3 hours watching, begging, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being
all right, there is videos we can
and great patrons of America. In fact,
here it is. Here it is. Here we go.
We have responsibility.
Here. Who's this come from? Okay. Listen, you could tremendously feel it up my ass. Look. Here.
Wow.
Congratulations.
We have responsibility,
I wonder where congratulations guy is now.
Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
No, that is not a question of how they had. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
Well, there it is. I don't do the partisan shit, so.
He says he'll now forgive them for what they've done.
Chair recognizes Mr. Donald from Florida.
He says he wants to commute their
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, the mask in the car. What's that about?
Sorry. Mayor Bowser, good to see you. Chief Conte, it's been a while. You haven't been back for 2 years or so. It's good to see you. Mr. Donahue.
What the fuck?
First time. Mr. Graves, bro, you need to do your job. I mean, let's just be very clear. You know, obviously, you have a responsibility to the residents of the district.
Where the fuck is
in a
it?
myriad of ways. I think, you know, my colleague talked about that and went in some heavy detail there.
Oh, there it is. Okay. What the fuck?
This guy is responsible for doing what was done. He did do a damn thing, and these people should be in jail, and they should
Boomer
be
USA.
the ones who are being held accountable.
Yeah, it was the porn
He wants to
I was
let them all
watching.
out, and now he says if he loses
I was watching Nancy Pelosi. Oh God, Nancy Pelosi porn.
again, such a whiner that he is, that there could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people. When they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down many other cities, you go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that, they saw them coming, and they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing. The Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone now out of office, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that, they'd go to jail.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right now. And the fact of the matter is, what he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, deserves to be convicted. The idea that they didn't kill somebody just...
You know what I think about his convictions? Someone else who I know she's even more left-leaning than me is, do I think he's guilty of doing what he did? Yeah. But do you think he's the only person on either side of the aisle that did that in the past? Come on. Keep it real. So it could be both. It could be that the legal troubles that Donald Trump have are politically motivated, but they can also be true. But do you think he's the only person that paid for fucking pussy or whatever in Congress? Come on. With campaign money?
Went in and broke down doors, broke the windows, occupied offices, turned over desks, turned them over statues. The idea that those people are patriots? Come on. When I asked him the first two debates we had, first time around, I said, will you denounce the Proud Boys? He said, no, I'll tell them to stand by.
He did say that. That is on video.
The idea he's refusing to...
Proud Boys, what is it? Stand up and stand by, or stand back and stand by? And then he's like, yeah, that's why I like the whole thing with it. I don't know anything about Project 2025. Some things sound deplorable. I don't believe. Then he said that because he said, I don't know who the Proud Boys are. So you just had a tick and randomly said, what, do you have Tourette's? And you randomly said Proud Boys? Come on, dude. Stand back and stand by. Yeah, yeah.
Will you denounce these guys? Will you denounce the people we're talking about now? Will you denounce the people who attacked that Capitol? What are you going to do?
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have. After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected...
Stand back, not stand down. I think it was stand back. I don't remember. But he definitely brought them up. And then later on, what do you know? He's like, I don't know the Proud Boys. That's why the whole Project 2020 of him not knowing shit, the fuck out of here.
You would quote...
He'll say whatever he needs to say to sound as good as he thinks to sound as good as he can at the moment.
Have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again, because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death caused at the border.
Shack food, John, is terrible.
Telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion or you change the prosecutor.
A lot of rich people move to
you're not
Texas because there's no tax, no state taxes.
That's quid pro quo. That we're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change your prosecutor having to do with his son. This man is a criminal. This man, you're lucky. You're lucky.
As he's sitting there as a convicted felon. Again, what I said before aside, you did get convicted and you did do it, dude.
I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, I'm coming right to you, sir. You want to respond? Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to respond.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that before. No president in our history has spoken like that before. Number three, the crimes that you are still charged with, and think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant? I mean, what are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
Give you a minute, sir.
I didn't have sex with a porn star.
She was a former porn star.
Number one. Number two, that was a case that was started and moved. They moved a high-ranking official at DOJ into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case. That case is going to be appealed and won. We had a very terrible judge, a horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking Democrats, appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found out about these...
No, because, dude, the proof is in the... Anything that you get accused of, your base becomes more fortified and more entrenched with you. So what are you talking about? People like, oh my God, yeah, they're attacking him for political reasons. I'm definitely going to vote for him. So come on. That's not
cases, because they understand it better than he does. He has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about these cases, you know what they did? My poll numbers went up, way up. You know that because you're reporting it.
Exactly.
And we took in more money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in the history of any campaign. I don't think any campaign has ever taken. Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam, and it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, quote,
dude, how many court cases? You're saying all the court cases that were lost where you tried to say there was voter fraud, every single one was all bullshit? Of course he is. Of course he's saying that. It's not true, but of course he's saying
Donald
it.
Trump and his MAGA Republicans are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
The more they know about what he's done, yes. The more they know about what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases down the road coming around. He's got a whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that, could you ever think you hear any president say that I'm going to seek retribution? Do you ever hear any president say that I thought Hitler had some good ideas? What got me involved to run in the first place after my son had died, I decided in Iraq, because of Iraq, I said I wasn't going to run again. until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas on torches, and singing the same anti-Semitic bile they sang when back in Germany. And the young woman got killed. They spoke to the mother, and they asked him. They said, "What do you think of those people? The ones who got killed, the one who tried to stop it, and the."
I saw the video. There was fine people on both sides because he knew that a decent portion of his base is on that side, and he didn't want to piss him off on the ticket.
He said, "I think they're fine people on both sides." What American president would ever say? Nazis coming out of fields, carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas, were fine people. And this is the guy who says Hitler's done some good things. I'd like to know what they are. The good things Hitler's done, that's what he said. This guy has...
Not saying he is responsible for that rally that happened, but he could have disavowed and not said fine people on both sides. I didn't say he fucking organized it.
No sense of American democracy.
President Trump.
Jake, both of you know that story has been totally wiped out because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on that. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency, he's without question the worst president, the worst presidency in the history of our country. We shouldn't be having a debate about it.
He doesn't answer the fucking question. He doesn't.
Nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story, and you'll see it's debunked all over the place. Every reasonable anchor has debunked it. And just the other day, it came out where it was fully debunked.
John, review seltzer.
It's a nonsense story. He knows that, and he didn't run because of Charlottesville. He used that as an excuse to run.
President Biden.
And debunked. It happened. All you have to do is listen to what was said at the time. And the idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought they were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those woods, carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president. Didn't deserve to be president at all. And the idea that he's talking about all this being fabricated, we saw with our own eyes. We saw what happened on January 6th. We saw the people breaking through the windows. We saw people occupying his own vice president. Look, there's a reason why 40 of his 44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Thank you, President Biden. We're going to be right back with more from the CNN.
I mean, if I know it's the popular thing to say that Biden was a complete feeble disaster. He is feeble, but we're 51 minutes into this motherfucker, and he's not. I was expecting maybe the disaster is going to happen now.
Presidential debate.
We still got 40 minutes to go, so. Yeah, he's feeble as fuck. I agree. Believe me, I'm not. There's no rose tinted glasses on me. Oh, they were literally just kept breaking? Yes, they did. I'm going to take a restroom break and be right back. It is a disaster. Biden needs to step down. You're not understanding what I'm saying. He needs to go. There needs to be a better candidate. Just because I'm saying that does not mean I think that he should still be on the ticket. He needs to be gone. He is a feeble 80-something-year-old man. If I had it my way, they would both be too old to run. Do not misconstrue what I'm saying. But I was thinking this was going to be way worse from what I heard. From everybody, whether it be the fucking Fox, the Young Turks. I was expecting more. Maybe the disaster comes now, though. But don't get what I'm saying wrong. The man is too old to run. You could see he's weak and feeble. And if he's weak and feeble now, where the fuck is he going to be in 4 years? But I have to call it like I see it. And right now, in terms of him like being incoherent and stuff, it's not as bad as I feel the press has been making it out to be. But that also doesn't mean I don't feel that he should be off the ticket. He is too old. You could see he's weak and frail, and he's even weak and frail compared to how he was in 2020. So anyway, I will be right back, and I will
Tacoma wept.
Got something to eat for dinner. Plain ass pulled pork, no bread, no shit. Yeah. While we're waiting for this, yeah, don't get what I'm saying wrong. Biden needs to fucking go. I am not changing my mind on that.
Welcome
Do
back
not
to
get
the
it
CNN
twisted.
presidential debate live from Georgia. Let's talk about persistent challenges you both faced in your first terms, and you'd certainly face again in a second term. President Biden, while black unemployment dropped to a record low under your presidency, black families still earn far less than white families. Black mothers are still 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, and black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there's more small black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number two, the wage.
You're not hearing me chewing, are you? It's just fucking plain pulled pork.
Black unemployment is the
Tastes like beef jerky. It's all right.
lowest level it's been in a long, long time. Number three, we're trying to provide housing for black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporate corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses. And in addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice that black families have to make relative to child care is incredibly difficult. When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past, I was able to reduce black child care costs. I cut them in half. We got to make sure we provide for child care costs. We got to make sure.
How about universal health care option, which is not free? People always say it's free. It's not.
Because when you provide those child care protections, you increase economic growth because more people can be in the job market. So there's more to be done, considerably more to be done. But we've done a great deal so far. And
universal health care is falling apart up in Canada, though, last time I heard, which is probably by design.
Heading up, and they know it.
You have 49 seconds left. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed with the progress so far?
I say I don't blame them for being disappointed. Inflation is still hurting them badly. For example, I provided for the idea that any black family first-time home buyer should get a $10,000 tax credit to be able to buy their first home so they can get started. I made sure that we're in a situation where all those black families and those black individuals who provided had to take out student loans that were.
Didn't he say Biden during the first term, when he got voted in, that if you don't vote for him, you're racist or something along those lines?
That if they were engaged in nursing, doctor,
I think I got it wrong slightly.
Anything having to do with volunteerism, if they paid their bills for 10 years on their student debt, all the rest is forgiven after 10 years. Millions have benefited from that, and we're going to do a whole lot more for black families.
Thank you, President.
Oh, you're not black. It's still ridiculous. Yeah, the ages, they both should not be able to run because of their ages. Right then and there. That's it. Like, it's that simple.
President Trump?
And he caused the inflation. He's blaming inflation, and he's right, it's been very bad. He caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled and tripled and quadrupled. They can't live.
Which is true. There's various different reasons for that.
They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation.
I could be wrong, but admittedly, I don't think either of them are necessarily to blame. It's partially the pandemic, and a lot of it's also corporate greed. Like, hey, the price is inflated and people are still buying shit, so let's keep them up there. There was news articles literally on that. They were just like, yeah, we just wanted to keep the prices high because we could.
I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window.
Yeah. Climate change is a scam. Tell my air conditioners that.
He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border.
This air conditioner, look, I know this isn't scientific evidence for climate change, but the science is out there. So we don't need to worry about that. This used to be able to, my whole side of the house, this thing used to be able effortlessly to keep it icy cool. It's still fine. You go there and put your hand in front of it. It's working perfect. Shit can't keep up, man.
Border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst.
Mm-hmm. Getting hotter every year.
In our history.
Thank you. President Biden?
There was no inflation when I became president. You know why? The economy was flat on its back. 15% unemployment. He decimated the economy, absolutely decimated the economy. That's why there was no inflation at the time. There were no jobs.
That was because of the pandemic, too. I gotta be balanced here. What the fuck? Yeah, rolling shitty software for the SP404 is garbage.
provided thousands of millions of jobs for individuals who are in all communities, including minority communities. We made sure that they have health insurance. We have covered with the ACA.
Yeah, it's just getting hotter and hotter every year because it's just, just get an AC, like Ben Shapiro says. It may get too hot to the point that they don't function properly anymore, and it's still borderline warm in my place now, which never used to be. I also never used to get a flooded basement downstairs. Now it happens a couple times a year. Yeah, climate change ain't real, though.
It has increased. I made sure that there are $8,000 per person in a family to get written off for health care. But this guy wants to eliminate that. They've tried 50 times. He wants to get rid of the ACA again, and they're going to try again if they win. You find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing anything.
I mean, fossil fuel is an antiquated thing. Now, look, there's downsides to electric cars, making the batteries, I know. But it's like, we got to move on from it. We have to. There's better alternatives. Even if there isn't an ideal, perfect alternative, we need to fucking figure it out, or we're not going to have a planet to live on. At least that we could live on.
We put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants to cut the cops. We're providing for equity and making sure people have a shot to make it. There's a lot going on, but in inflation, he caused it by his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled it.
But our complete reliance, artistic Spartan on petrol, is corporate greed. Without question.
Thank you. Another persistent challenge is the climate crisis. 2023 was the hottest year in recorded history, and communities across the country.
I can't wait to hear it. Trump is just going to blame him for something. Let's place bets.
We are confronting the devastating effects of extreme heat, intensifying wildfires, stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Former President Trump, you've vowed to end your opponent's climate initiatives, but will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
Well, let me just go back to what he said about the police.
I told you. I fucking told you. I fucking told you.
Close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting
Donald
J. Trump. Almost every police group. And what he's done to the black...
What the fuck does it have to do with climate change, you putz?
Population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. In the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name, and he called it to them for 10, and they've taken great offense at it, and now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal justice reform...
Hold on. Hopefully did Biden refer to African Americans It was actually Hillary Clinton. Biden said predators in our streets. He didn't say Clinton used the term super predators in 96.
And for the historically black colleges and universities where I funded them and got them all funded, and the opportunity zones with Tim, as you know, Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great job. Great senator from
climate change. What's your fucking take on it? That's what they asked you.
South Carolina. He came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country, opportunity zones. And the biggest beneficiary are blacks. And that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever, the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population because he's done a horrible job for black people. He's also done a horrible job for Hispanics. But wait till you see
I did hear Biden is losing a lot of black voters.
These millions of people pouring into our country, and they're going to take the jobs, and it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet. It's a disaster.
You 38 seconds left, President Trump. Will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want
that was salty and mediocre, but at least I'm not hungry anymore.
Absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever.
What the fuck does this even mean? What the fuck does this even mean?
And we were using all forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage, actually.
I don't know where the hell he's been. The idea that anything he said is true. I've passed the most extensive climate change legislation in history. We find ourselves, and by the way, black colleges. I came up with $15 billion for HBCUs, historic black universities and colleges.
Yeah, we had H2O. What the fuck does that mean? He is such an idiot.
Because they don't have the kind of contributors that they have to build these laboratories and the like. Any black student is capable in college of doing any white student can do. They just don't have the money. But now they'll be able to get these jobs in high tech. We're in a situation where the idea that
yeah, explain to me, President Trump, you fucking idiot, why I've had more basement floods in the past 2 years than I've had in the past 25 years, my parents, when they owned this house. I mean, I know that's just one thing, but we could go into plenty more with scientific evidence behind them all day.
that he is claiming
Ocean water.
to have done something.
Ivan on
the
ocean
cleanest
water.
The cleanest water. He hadn't done a damn thing with the environment. He pulled out of the Paris Peace Accord, Climate Accord. I immediately joined it because if we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius at any one point, there's no way back. The only existential threat to humanity is climate change, and he didn't do a damn thing about it. He wants to undo all that I've done.
The Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing. It was a ripoff of the United States. And I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horribly. We were the only.
Our money ain't going to be worth shit if everything's flooded, if the ice caps keep melting, if the temperature keeps going up where places are going to be uninhabitable. Your trillions and trillions and billions are fucking monopoly money that outside of the human race is worth fuck all, ain't going to protect you from climate change, you idiot. God, I hate that human beings are so fucking obsessed with money. Christ.
Once it was costing us money, nobody else was paying into it, and it was a disaster. But everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before insulin. I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors. I took care of the seniors. What he's doing is destroying all of our medical programs because the migrants coming in, they want everybody. And look, I have the biggest heart on the stage. I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people. But we're destroying our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals, and they're going to be taking over Social Security. He is destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
The idea is that we, in fact, we were the only ones of consequence who were not members of the Paris Accord. How can we do anything if we're not able to, the United States can't get it under control?
Oh, God. He's falling apart now. Here it is. Here it is.
One of the largest polluters in the world.
It's because of our instinctual shortcomings, Victor 26, that money makes the world go around. There was an interesting video I saw where I think it was a philosopher. Is like he was holding a pencil and he goes, "This pencil took like 100 or 1,000 people to put together. Someone from this part of the world made the rubber. Someone from this part of the world harvested the wood. Someone from this part of the world got." Well, not lead, but whatever they put in the pencil to make it used to be lead. the metal that goes around the rubber. And he said that these people from all these different parts of the world would hate each other. They would despise each other. But the reason it gets done is because of money. And if you think about it, that's really sad. The only thing that motivates us to work together is because we have to for financial gain. And we had to make this system, this artificial system, because no one would ever do anything if we didn't. Or it would be the purge. Because we can't handle it. We are enslaved to our own terrible instincts at the end of the day.
Number one, we're making significant progress. By 2035, we will have cut pollution in half. We have made significant progress, and we're continuing to make progress. We set up a climate corps for thousands of young people will learn how to deal with climate, just like the Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change the elements of cause of pollution. But the idea that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and he's really...
Yeah, seriously. He should just bring up the John McCain thing right now. Boom. Ta-da! When did money make me make mistakes that got the best of me?
Concerned about
when?
Pollution and about climate. I've not seen any indication of that. And by the way, with regard to...
Let me tell you something. If money was my main motivator, then I would have had a Temu ad that I turned down. And I hate hitting the applause for things like that, but I think, come on. So, no. That's what I can say. Well, that was kind of surprising coming from John.
Prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one, voluntarily. I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company, cannot have to pay.
Thank you.
And by the way...
So every day, millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many older Americans, Social Security provides a critical lifeline. President Biden, if nothing is done to Social Security, seniors will see their benefits cut in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social...
Oh, God, John, that thing was such a nothing burger anyway. I ended up giving the money to... You know, it was funny that even after I gave the money, I don't remember the sequence of events, but I think this is right. Even after I donated the money to a charity, because I ended up getting a tax return and didn't need the donations for the camera. So I was like, look, I'll give it, I wasn't looking for a freebie. I then went and bought a graphics card and everyone lost their shit over that. But I'm like, but I didn't keep your money. I donated it to a charity. So I gain nothing financially from my audience, but it's the internet, right?
Security solvent.
Yes, make the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Right now, everybody making under $170,000 pays 6% of their income, of their paycheck, every single time they get a paycheck from the time the first one they get when they're 18 years old. The idea that they're going to, I'm proposing that everybody, the millionaires pay 1%. 1%.
Yeah, I did talk. I actually had a stream dedicated talking to Dr. Disrespect. The thing that makes me angry the most, because I can relate, is how everyone threw Slash, who's the guy who's like an industry insider for like live streaming and finds out stuff, because he said that what Dr. Disrespect did was so heinous that he's under like some NDA, he can't talk about it. Dr. Disrespect and his sycophants, sounds familiar, just threw the guy under the bus. He's no longer as credible. No one could trust Slash, all this stuff. How'd that turn out? Guy Beam's a fucking disgusting pedophile, and Slash is right. Was right. So all the shit he got was for not. That rhymes stupidly. That wasn't what I meant. But you understand what I mean. What's up, Gorilla Pimp? Yeah, at first with the Temu thing, and, you know, apologies to Screenwave, I was like, what's the big deal? They sell stuff, you like it, you don't, you don't. But then it was like, I would see memes, and I saw videos after I agreed, which I should have checked first. I was like, I can't. It was like the 11th hour. I'm like, I can't do this. There's no way. This company's shit. You're fucking shit, Temu.
So no one after, I would not raise the...
You want like gray area, weird tech stuff, you're better off going to AliExpress, in my opinion.
Cost of Social Security for anybody.
It's Slasher. Okay.
Under $400,000. After that, it began to make the wealthy begin to pay their fair share by increasing.
Yeah, but that was such a shit show. Everyone threw Slasher under the bus, and he was right. Dr. Dre and Dr. Pepper. I can't believe, John, that was kept quiet for so many fucking years.
Increasing from 1% beyond to be able to guarantee the program for life.
I mean, when he got dropped from... When did he get dropped? 2021, right?
So you still have 82 seconds left. Are there any other measures that you think that would be able to help keep Social Security solvent, or is that one enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent, but the biggest thing I'll do if we defeat this man, because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks there's plenty to cut in Social Security. He's wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare both times. And and if you look at the program put forward by the House Republican caucus that I believe supports, is
2020
in fact want to cut it as well. The idea that we don't need to protect our seniors is ridiculous. And by the way, the American public has greater health care coverage today than ever before. And on the ACA, as I said, you're in a circumstance where 400,000 people, 40 million people would not have insurance because they have a pre-existing condition. Only thing that allows them to have that insurance is the fact that they, in fact, are part of the ACA. And by the way, the other thing is, we're in a situation where we talk about education for black communities.
Rich, you missed my super chat. Meant not. Let me see. How stance on how some streamers ban everything. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, look, you're gonna have to ban people. There was even some like spam and shit tonight. But my stance on banning is just like it's the cockroach effect. You ban one account, they're gonna make 20 more anyway.
I've raised the amount of money for Pell Grants by another $8,000. So anybody making under $70,000 a year is going to be able to get $15,000 toward their tuition.
Toy too, how are you?
I just don't know what he's talking about.
Thank you, President Biden.
Well, I don't want to say no bans either. I mean, they were like had to ban some bots and shit tonight. Like it happens, you know.
President Trump.
So I've dealt with politicians.
But again, like if you act like Wings, there's a perfect example of the other extreme. That's what causes, because they get the reaction. I've done it. I've reacted to shit. I'll admit it. But the less you react, trust me, I know, the less shit's done. Because these people are looking for attention, is what they're looking for. If you don't give him that, guess what?
All my life, I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies.
Jesus. He has lied. Look, he's lost a presidential election for lying, Biden, in the past before. But coming from him, that's amazing. You guys know about that? I think he ran in 88.
I've never seen it. He could look you in the face. About so many other things, too. And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine. Everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total lie on the military. It's a disgrace. But Social Security, he's destroying it because millions of people are pouring into our country, and they're putting them onto Social Security. They're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid. They're putting them in our hospitals. They're taking the place of our citizens. What they're doing to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels. He doesn't know what he's doing, and it's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
The anger actually started. I saw it building in, like, if you really want to go back, 2014. Like, it has nothing to do with Gamergate. But, like, I remember, like, Milo Yiannopoulos and all of a sudden everything was too politically correct. I was even on board with some of it because I was naive to what was going on at the time. And there's still some things that hold true. But you saw the seeds of the ridiculousness and the fever dream we're in now starting to sprout. I saw them thinking back in like 2014, maybe even 2013. Yeah, Retro Renegade, the Rosita Sarkeesian arc. Yeah, I hold to my criticisms of her. But I always bring this story. Remember what happened with that? When she got a credible threat, the feds came out and said that one of the threats against her life was credible. You know, because I knew she liked to play the victim thing too. But I'm like, look, if the feds are coming out and saying it, they wouldn't just come out and say it. I said, yeah, you know, her takes are shit, but her life shouldn't be threatened for it. Holy fuck, you would have thought I said that she should be crowned the Empress of the States. People were so, like, offended that I said she shouldn't die. It was stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, people are starting to get kind of weird. Like, yeah, there's always been psychopaths. I get that. But, like, the collective of weirdness, like, started to, like, pool together. I'm like, oh, we're at the point now that people with bad gate takes on video games should die, huh? Okay, cool. I hate RGB too, James. I don't give a shit about even when I was younger, it isn't even that I'm older. It's like, why do you want your computer to look like a fucking rainbow science experiment? Just a clean computer, you know? Like, there was someone in an iPad Reddit group that was like, why does no one put stickers on their iPad? Why does no one dress up their iPad or make, I'm like, because I don't want sticky shit on my expensive iPad that I used for productivity. I put it in a case and I don't, you know, I'm a 42-year-old man and don't need to have flowers on it. I consider myself a bit of a feminist, and I think a lot of her takes are bad. I agree. And that's what I'm saying. Like, all right, yeah, her takes are horrible. She even admitted that she wasn't even really into gaming. But should she die because of it? No. And if you think so, you're a fucking idiot. I still hold to that. Oh no, I might lose subscribers. Oh, wait. I mean, look, there's some, if I like here's the thing. If you can make RGB clean, I like clean computers. I always have. Remember Alienware used to everything was like all the gaudy plastic and looking, it's like, oh God.
President Biden?
The idea that veterans are not being taken care of, I told you before. And by the way, when I said suckers and losers, he acknowledged after that he fired that general. That general got fired because he's the one that acknowledged that that's what he said. He was the one standing with Trump when he said it, number one. Number two.
That's interesting.
The idea that we're going to be in a situation where all these millions and millions, the way he talks about it, illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world, the reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. We're doing better than any other nation in the world. And by the way, those 15 Nobel laureates he talked about being
Yeah, we need to stop outsourcing jobs,
phony.
though.
Those 15 Nobel laureates, economists, they all said that if Trump is reelected, we're likely to have a recession and inflation is going to increasingly go up. And by the way, worst president in history, 159 presidential scholars voted him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of child.
Who was right? Well, you know who was a real piece of shit? Woodrow Wilson. He was a racist motherfucker. He was a racist motherfucker by early 20th century standards. And that's saying something. Go look up President Woodrow Wilson and his take and how racist he was.
Child care, which many American families struggle to afford. President Trump, both you and President Biden have tried to address this issue, but the average cost of child care in this country has risen to more than $11,000 a year per child. For many families, the cost of child care for 2 children is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
I would not do a single fucking thing. His face says it all.
Just to go back.
Why does Jake Tapper's face annoy me so fucking much? There's just something about his face. Like he just, I don't know.
The general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I did.
Did he get fired? Here is the $1 million question. I'm not going to look it up right now. That's too specific. It would take too much time. When did he get fired? Did he get fired after he confirmed that you said that? Or did he get fired before? If he got fired before, okay, yeah, it could be a vengeance thing to just make you look bad. He got fired after you fired him because of it.
Didn't say it, and they're very highly respected, much more so than him. The other thing is, he doesn't fire people. He never fired people. I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the FBI.
Dude, your administration was a fucking revolving door. Holy shit. Who was that one guy who was on for like 2 days and then he got fired and then he did like a fucking round of press? Remember that guy?
Drained the swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people. You'd pay a price for it, but they were no good. I inherited these people.
Scaramucci, yeah. Remember him? Hey, yo, it was Scaramucci. I got fired in 48 hours.
I didn't put him there. I didn't put Comey there. He was no good. I fired him. This guy hasn't fired anybody.
You fired him allegedly, even though I think it's more than allegedly, because you wanted Comey to say that he like was going to pledge allegiance to you, and he said, nah. Not that Comey's a great human being himself, but I don't put stickers on my heart because I am not a grade 1 or I see grown ass men and women. Like if you go to like Starbucks to get a coffee, it's like, it's a fucking $2,000 laptop and you're slapping it. Hey, it's your shit. Do what you want. But
he never fires. He should have fired every military man that was involved with that the Afghanistan horror show, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. He didn't fire. Did you fire anybody? Did you fire anybody that's on the border that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get fired for allowing 18 million people, many from prisons, many from mental institutions? Did you fire anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed? Joe, our country is being destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president. He just said about me because I said it. But look, he's the...
Yeah. All these scholars they got together. Who cares what they say? I don't. Fuck them.
Worst president in the history of our country. He's destroyed our country. Now all of a sudden he's trying to get a little tough on the border. He came out with a
Sue is going to put decals on my ass cheeks. That is awesome.
A nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit, like this much. It's insignificant. He wants open borders. He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters. And I don't think we just can't let it happen. If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance, of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He is the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We are the most admired country in the world. We're the United States of America. There's nothing beyond our capacity. We have the finest military in the history of the world, the finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're weak. No one wants to screw around with us. Nobody. Number one. Number two, the idea that we're talking about worst presidents. I wasn't joking. Look it up or go online. 159 or 58, don't hold me the exact number, presidential historians. They've had meetings and they voted who's the worst president in American history. One through best to worst. They said he was the worst in all of American history. That's a fact. That's not conjecture. He can argue.
Well, it still is technically conjecture, but that's a lot of people to get together to say that someone sucks.
They're wrong, but that's what they voted. The idea that he is doing anything to deal with child care, he did virtually nothing to child.
I mean, he's not as nearly as bad as I thought he was going to be, but yes, I absolutely think he should still drop out. Without question.
Child care. We should significantly increase the child care tax credit. We should significantly increase the availability of women and men or single parents to be able to go back to work. And we should encourage businesses to have.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, the question was about what would you do to make child care more affordable, if you want to take your minute.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other.
Bigfoot. Are you talking about the Bigfoot from the Howard Stern show? Didn't he get caught doing something really shady?
Things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you. And they rate me one of the best, okay? And if I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best. Nobody's ever created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us.
His hand gestures are so fucking weird. I'm going to slice through the economy with my small hands, but I do have a large penis.
He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times. He wants the Trump tax cuts to expire. So everybody, including the two of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life, I'd grow up and I'd see politicians talking about cutting taxes. When we cut taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all these companies, they were bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
No, the mystical creature Bigfoot, yeah. That for some reason always has footage, but even to this day is still taken with like a 144p camera.
President Biden?
Look, the fact of the matter is that he's dead wrong about, he's increased the tariff, he will increase the taxes on middle-class people. I said I'd never raise the tax on anybody making less than $400,000. I didn't. But this tariff is 10% tariffs. Everything coming in the country, you know what the economists say? That's going to cost the average American $2,500 a year more because they're going to have to pay the difference in food and all the things that we're importing.
Manufacture yeah. That's the thing. We're a nation of services. Like, what do we do here? You know what? We send everything overseas to be manufactured because it's pennies to the dollar with the slave labor.
Number two, he's in a situation where he talks about how he has not raised, he's somehow helped the middle class. Middle class have been devastated by you. Now you want a new tax cut of $5 trillion over the next 10 years, which is going to fundamentally bankrupt the country. You have the largest deficit of any president in American history, number one. Number two, you have not, in fact, made any contact, any progress with China. We are the lowest trade deficit with China since 2010.
Thank you, President Biden.
You lost
Thank you, President Biden. Let's discuss an epidemic impacting millions of Americans that both of you have made a top priority in your first term, the opioid crisis. And for both of you, the number of overdose deaths.
Why does Trump always do this with his face? You notice that? He always looks like he just sucked on a lemon.
In this country has gone up. Under your term, it went up. Under your term, it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite the efforts that both of you have made, more than 100,000 Americans are dying from overdoses every year, primarily from fentanyl and other opioids. What will you do to help Americans right now in the throes of addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
To finish up, we now have the largest deficit in the history of our country under this guy. We have the largest.
He never answers the fucking question. He never does.
Deficit with China.
Like, he can't answer the fucking question. It's impossible for him to do. Look at this. This just sums up this debate. This is the one. I know I said it before. This sums up this debate perfectly. Look, again, I agree that Biden should drop out because, I mean, he's more lucid than I thought he was going to be, significantly more. I don't care if people get pissed off at me for saying that, but there's no way this man can handle another 4 years as president. No way. Biden should still drop out. The Mandarin and the 10 rings. See, John, you bring up references that I don't know because I don't watch anything.
China. He gets paid by China. He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets money from China. So I think he's afraid to deal with them or something. But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our.
Wait, did you hear? Fucking heard his stomach rumbling.
Steel industries, and there was more to come, but he hasn't done that. But he hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't, because it's too much money. But he's got the largest deficit in the history of our country, and he's got the worst situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
So, President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction right now who are struggling?
He has real estate holdings in China. Trump. I don't have anything to back that up right now, but it wouldn't shock me. Is he genuine about anything?
Struggling to get the treatment they need.
Jake, we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along. We had the 2.5, almost 3 years of like nobody's ever had before, any country, in every way. And then we had to get.
He always says everything is the best, but never backs it up with anything. We had the most tremendous. We had the best. We were leading. What evidence with it? I have the most successful YouTube channel.
Tough, and it was the drugs pouring across the border it started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog that's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen, the way they can spot it. We did a lot, and we were getting very low numbers, very, very low numbers. Then he came along. The numbers, have you seen the numbers now? It's not only the 18 million people that I believe is even low because the gotaways, they don't even talk about gotaways. But the numbers of the amount of drugs and human trafficking in women coming across our border, the worst thing I've ever seen, at numbers that nobody's ever seen under him because the border's so bad. But the number of drugs coming across our border now is the largest we've ever had by far.
President Trump, thank you. President Biden?
His mouth is literally hanging. Yeah, like when he's not talking, well, that's not a flattering image of either of them right now. But like, yeah, he zones out,
fentanyl, dude. And the byproducts of fentanyl went down for a while. And I wanted to make sure we use the machinery that can detect fentanyl, these big machines that roll over everything that comes across the border. And it costs a lot of money. That was part of this deal we put together, this bipartisan deal. More fentanyl machines, more be able to detect drugs, more numbers of agents, more numbers of all the people at the border. And when we had that deal done, he called his Republican colleagues, said, don't do it. It's going to hurt me politically. No, he never argued it's not a good bill. It's a really good bill. We need those machines. We need those machines. And we're coming down very hard in every country in Asia in terms of precursors for fentanyl. And Mexico is working with us to make sure they don't have the technology to be able to put it together. That's what we have to do. We need those machines.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, and again, the question is about Americans in the throes of addiction right now struggling to get the treatment they need.
Well, this does pertain to it. He ended Remain in Mexico. He ended catch and release.
Welcome, SEALs. Happy birthday. Welcome to the 40s Club. It's not a big deal.
He ended catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so many things that we had done, hard negotiations.
Just be prepared for whenever, oh, you're 40, so you're dead. It's just the weirdest thing. But you know what, man? When I was like in my teens and early 20s, yeah, you looked at people who were 40. It's like, oh my God, it's like so old.
With Mexico, and I got it all for nothing. It's just like when you have a hostage. We always pay $6 billion for a hostage. Every time we say a hostage.
Oh, God.
Now we have a hostage, a Wall Street Journal reporter. I think a good guy. And he's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars for the reporter. I will have him out very quickly as soon as I take office. Before I take office, I said by literally as soon as I win the election, I will have that reporter out. He should have had him out a long time ago, but Putin's probably asking for billions and billions of dollars because
billions and billions. Dude, someone should do a billions and millions compilation with him.
This guy pays it every time. We had 2 cases where he paid $6 billion for 5 people. I got 58 people out, and I paid essentially nothing.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
Let's turn to concerns that voters have about each of you. President Biden, you would be 86 at the end of your second term. How do you address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
He can't.
Well, first of all, I spent half my career being criticized being the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent. I think that just look at the record. Look what I've done. Look, I've turned around the horrible situation he left me.
No, limit the age to 70.
I said 50 million new jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs, more investment in America, over billions of dollars in private investment in enterprises that we are growing. By the way, we brought an awful lot of people. The whole idea of computer chips, we used to have 40% of the market. We invented those chips, and we lost it because he was sending people to find the cheapest jobs overseas and then bring home a product. So I went to South Korea. I convinced Samsung to invest billions of dollars here in the United States. And they're...
Yeah, but if you're going to like push the Social Security age to 70, why can't someone be president at 70? You know what I mean?
Guess what? Those fabs, they call them,
up until 70,
chips,
let me say.
Those fabs pay over $100,000. You don't need a college degree for them. And there's billions.
And the last year you could run for office is 68. So if you have a 4-year term, you could run till 72.
About $40 billion already being invested and being built right now in the United States, creating significant jobs for Americans from all over the world.
President Biden, you have 40 seconds left. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would. The idea that somehow we are this failing country. I never heard a president talk like this before. We're the envy of the world. Name me a single major country president who wouldn't trade places with the United States of America for all our problems and all our opportunities. We're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done. We're the strongest country in the world. We're a country in the world who keeps our word, and everybody trusts us. All of our allies and those who he coddles up to, from Kim Jong-un, we send love letters to, and Putin, etc. they don't want to screw around with us.
Thank you. Former President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end
Yeah, it's contagious.
of your
Yes.
second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took.
What ridiculous. This is what politics is boiled down to. Who proves who has dementia or not? Fucking kill me.
Physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way.
Oh,
And I
here we
do it.
go.
He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel.
Oh, this is what we're talking about? Your fucking golf game and your physiques?
Feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced them. Dr. Ronnie Jackson.
Yeah, dude, it's like, hey, is this a horse or a zebra? Wow, good job, Donnie.
Who's a great guy when he was White House.
But the thing is, he does have a point. Biden, take the fucking test.
Doctor. And then I took another one, a similar one. And one of them said they've never seen anybody ace him.
Thank you.
A seltzer water mukbang?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him.
Why are we talking about this in politics? Why? What does this have to do with running the nation? Who cares? Who cares who's fatter? Who cares who's skinnier? You both could barely walk, especially Biden. Shut the fuck up.
I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest
Oh, God.
It's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8. But I have, you know how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Okay, let's
not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to
21.
turn
What a stream to come back
Let's
to.
not act like children.
to a specific concern
Let Trump say that. Let's not act like
that
children.
voters have about you.
Accept what I wanted.
Will you pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins, and you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable?
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people.
Tremendous spray tan junk, yes.
That went to the Capitol, and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself.
Yes, you would. You absolutely
wouldn't be
right
under
now.
indictment, because I wouldn't have been his political opponent, because he indicted me because I was his opponent. I wish he was a great president. I would rather have that. I wouldn't be here. I don't mind being here. But the only reason I'm here is he's so bad as a president that I'm going to make America great again. We're going to make America great again. We're a failing nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation. And we're a failing nation because of him. His policies are so bad. His military policies are insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very close to World War III, and he's driving us there. And Kim Jong-un and President Xi of China, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, all of these, Putin, they don't respect him. They don't fear him. They have nothing going with this gentleman, and he's going to drive us into World War III.
You want a World War III, let him follow and win, and let Putin say, do what you want, NATO. Just do what you want. There's a thing called Article 5. An attack on one is an attack on all, and required response. The idea, I can't think of a single major leader in the world who wouldn't trade places with the job I've done and what they've done. Because we are a powerful nation. We have wonderful people. It's because of the people, not me. It's because of the American people. They're capable of anything, and they step up when they're needed. And right now, we're needed. We're needed to protect the world because our own safety is at stake.
Like, see, that's the thing. Again, Biden should step down, but Trump would never say anything. He never says anything positive. It's always, he's a victim, and it's always negative shit. Everything is negative out of that man's mouth. Like, look, you could be a conservative, but that should be a red flag for you.
And again, you want to have a war, just let Putin go ahead and take Kyiv, make sure they move on, see what happens in Poland, Hungary, and other places along that border. Then you have a war.
President Trump, as I come back to you for a follow-up, the question was...
He is not going to be in any condition, Biden, to be in office for 4 more years.
Will you accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins?
Just to finish what he said, if I might.
Of course.
Russia, they took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land from Obama and Biden. They took no land, nothing from Trump, nothing. He knew not to do it. He's not going to play games
Trump,
with me. He knew
he
that.
referred to himself in third
he
person.
Knew not to play games.
Oh, God.
He took nothing from me. But now he's going to take the whole thing from this man right here. That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started ever with me. And he's going to take Ukraine. And, you know, you asked me a question before, would you do this? He's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine and Russia because Ukraine's not winning that war. He said, I will never settle until such time. They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's so sad. They've lost so many people, and they've lost those gorgeous cities with the golden domes that are 1,000 years old, all because of him and stupid decisions. Russia would have never attacked if I were president.
Trump, the question was, will you accept
Why? Yeah, he didn't even answer that. It's a good point.
The results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely.
He won't, is what he's saying.
I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that then I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers.
No, because that's not, because it did drive up your numbers, so he didn't do it for that. Yeah, but John, Biden he's not going to win.
Numbers and driven them up to a very high level because the people understand it.
Well, let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there's all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There is no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what, I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. The idea, if you lose again, you accepting anything, you can't stand the loss. Something snapped in you when you lost the last time.
That was pretty savage, and he's right. Again, yes, I do think Biden should step, but this is not nearly as bad as even like TYT was making it out to be. But this, I mean, is this embarrassing? And I hold to my stance, yes, but...
We'll be right back with more from the CNN presidential debate, live from Georgia.
Tremendous men. All right, yeah, I don't need to... Jesus Christ, what a fucking... What is it, like 30 minutes of commercials? Basically. Me fence sitting?
It is now time for the candidates to deliver their closing statements as predetermined by a coin toss. We're going to begin with you, President.
It does, because here's the reality. It doesn't matter that he wasn't as bad as I was expecting him to be here, but here's the thing. What is he going to be in 2 years? We've seen the decline even from 2020. The decline is still there. Like, that's just the reality of it.
Biden, you have 2 minutes.
We've made significant progress from the debacle that was left by President Trump in his last term. We find ourselves.
Yes, I agree. Sony Toprano, 100%.
We have to make sure that we have a fair tax system. I ask anyone out there in the audience or anyone
You're 100% correct.
This debate,
in my opinion,
the tax system is fair. The fact is that I said nobody even making under $400,000 had a single penny increase in their taxes, and will not. And if I'm reelected, that'll be the case again. But this guy has increased your taxes because of the deficit. Number one, he's increased inflation because of the debacle he left after the way he handled the pandemic. And he finds himself in a position where he now wants to tax you more by putting a 10% tariff on everything that comes into the United States of America. What I did, when, for example, he wants to get rid of the ability of Medicare for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. Well, guess what? We got it down to $35 for insulin instead of $400. No more than $2,000 for every senior, no matter how much prescription they need. You know what that did? That reduced the federal debt by $160 billion over 10 years because the government doesn't have to pay the exorbitant prices. I'm going to make that available to every senior all along, it's happening now, and everybody in America. He wants to get rid of that. I'm going to make sure that we have child care. We're going to significantly increase the credit people have for child care. I'm going to make sure we do something about what we're doing on lead pipes and all the things that are causing health problems for people across the country. We're going to continue to fight to bring down inflation and give people a break.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, you now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything. All he does is make our country unsafe by allowing.
What do you do besides bitch and say you'll fix things and offer zero solutions? Tell me I'm lying that he's not, he hasn't done anything.
Millions and millions of people to pour in. Our military doesn't respect him.
Our choices is a guy who's a pathological liar and one who's half dead.
We looked like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke. Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terror, no money whatsoever. Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He talks about all this stuff, but he didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians and we have everybody else rioting all over the place.
Yeah, I would rather, unfortunately, have Biden for another 4 years too. But you shouldn't have him as a fucking candidate.
Talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times. The whole country is exploding because of you, because they don't respect you, and they have to respect their president, and they don't respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs, but he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's never seen anything like. Even from a medical standpoint, right to try, where we can try space-age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get when you're terminally ill. Now you can go and you can get something. You sign a document. They've been trying to get it for 42 years. But you know what we did for the military was incredible. Choice for our soldiers, where our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden.
What a fucking disaster. We're fucked. We're absolutely fucked. Oh, man. Anyway. That was fun. It was this was a good one to come back to. I'll be back tomorrow. This is great. I appreciate everyone here. And times change, but I ain't going anywhere. Just different. I'm happier too. That's the thing. That's the key to it all. And if I'm happier, that means things will be more enjoyable, right? Have a good night, everybody. See you tomorrow. Oh, for Christ's sake, did she really have to help him off stage? Oh, God. Yeah, and he's going to last another 4 years as president. Jesus. Oh, fuck me.